Do you ever feel like saying no is one of the hardest things to do? Maybe it's because you don't want to upset someone, or you're worried about missing an opportunity. FOMO, of course. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to yourself. And in today's video, we're diving deep into the art and science of saying no. So from understanding why it feels so hard, to exploring the psychology behind it, to learning practical techniques for setting up boundaries, this is your ultimate guide to protecting your time, your energy, and your mental health. By the end of this video, you'll not only feel more confident in saying no, but you'll also discover how it can transform your life for the better. Let's get started. Why does saying no feel so hard? Let's talk about why saying no feels so hard. And it's not just you, this is something deeply rooted into how we are wired as humans. From an early age, most of us are taught to be agreeable. We're praised for being helpful, for being a team player, for putting others first. And over time, this creates a fear of rejection or conflict when we say no. There's also something called people-pleasing syndrome. I'm sure you know a few of these. And it's that need to make others happy to avoid disappointing them or feeling like a burden. But what this really does is it teaches us to prioritize everyone else's needs over our own. And let's be real, how often does that leave you feeling drained or resentful? Here's something to remember. When you say yes to everything, you're essentially saying no to yourself. You're saying no to rest, you're saying no to the time with your family, to your own mental health and your own physical health. And that's a price that you cannot afford to keep paying. There's hidden costs to always saying yes. Have you ever agreed to something knowing deep down you didn't have the time for it? Maybe it was staying late at work, maybe it was helping a friend out with something, or attending an event when all you want to do is rest. Saying yes too often doesn't just take up your time, it drains your energy. And it can even harm your physical health as well. So studies show that chronic overcommitment increases stress levels, weakens your immune system, and puts you at risk for burnout. And when you're burned out, you're not just less effective at work or in your relationships, you're less present in your own life. And you can see this in one of my other videos about overwhelm. Here's the thing, saying yes when you mean no isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. And when you neglect yourself for too long, everyone around you and your own happiness can take a hit too. The consequences of overcommitment isn't just a minor inconvenience. It can have a profound effect on every area of your life. And let's break it down with some specific examples so you can see how it might show up for you. So at work, we've got the burnout trap. So imagine this, you've said yes to every task your boss throws your way. At first, you're managing, but soon the deadlines start piling up. The emails don't stop, and suddenly you're staying late every night to try and keep up. What happens? Deadlines slip, your performance suffers, and worst of all, so does your mental health. Studies show that burnout, which is characterized by exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy, affects 77% of professionals at some point in their career. Overcommitting doesn't just harm you, it affects everyone else, so your team. Missed deadlines or rushed work create a domino effect, stressing out your colleagues and impacting overall productivity. Even when you feel like it might just be for you, it really does affect everyone around you. Now let's look at relationships. The resentment cycle. Overcommitment can creep into your personal life. Maybe you're constantly agreeing to help friends move, attend every family gathering, or taking on the emotional labor of solving everyone else's problems. But deep down, you're running on empty. You feel stretched too thin, and before long, resentment starts to build. Instead of being fully present and engaged in your relationships, you're distracted, you're irritable, or just even completely avoiding people altogether. And research supports this. So psychologists have found that people-pleasing behaviors often lead to a lack of authentic connection in relationships, as it prioritizes other needs at the expense of your own. I'm sure you've seen this in your life. Have a think about it. Your personal health also takes a hit. So stress and sleepless nights, perhaps the most personal consequences of overcommitment is what it does to your health. So stress becomes a constant companion. You're lying awake at night, your mind is racing with everything you still need to do, and over time this stress can lead to insomnia, high blood pressure, and even long-term issues like heart disease or anxiety disorders. A study by the American Psychological Association found that 75% of adults experience physical symptoms of stress. So that's headaches, fatigue, and muscle tensions, which we carry in our shoulders and our face. And the leading cause of this is just taking on more than you can handle. Making the consequences tangible when you overcommit. You're not just sacrificing time, you're sacrificing your well-being, your relationships, and even your career. Recognizing these consequences isn't about making you feel bad. It's about helping you to see that saying no isn't selfish, it's actually self-preservation. And the next time you're tempted to say yes to everything, think about what are the hidden costs, and are they worth it? Let's look at how to say no without guilt. So how do you say no in a way that feels good for you, but is respectful to others? It's all about reframing your mindset and building practical strategies. I'm going to give you 3 powerful steps to try. The first one is to clarify your priorities. So first, let's get crystal clear on what's most important to you. What are your personal values and goals right now? And when you know what truly matters, it's easier to recognize what doesn't align and to just let it go. For example, if your focus is on spending more quality time with your family, saying no to extra hours in work becomes really easy because it conflicts with that priority. And this isn't selfish, it's intentional. We know what we're doing. The second one would be to practice saying no. And let's do this kindly but firmly. So the way you deliver a no really matters. You can decline something without sounding rude or dismissive. I'm going to give you some phrases to try. So the first one is, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not able to take that on right now. Another one would be, I really appreciate the offer, but I have to focus on my current commitments. And finally, I'd love to help, but my schedule is full at the moment. Now notice how all of these responses are polite but firm. They respect both of your boundaries and the other person's feelings. Let's get comfortable with discomfort. Here's the tough part. Learning to say no means accepting that not everyone will like it, and that's okay. It's normal to feel uncomfortable at first, but remember this, every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your own well-being, and that's what's really important here. Let's rewrite the narrative around selfishness. I want to take a moment to challenge the stigma around selfishness. And we've been conditioned to see selfishness as a negative trait forever. But when it comes to your mental health, it's actually a strength. Being selfish in a healthy way means understanding your limits and honoring them. It's recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup, and that if you want to give your best to the people and the projects and your work that matter the most, you have to take care of yourself first. You are the priority. My personal journey with saying no would start with something that happened a long time ago. So for years, I struggled to say no. I thought saying yes to every opportunity made me dependable. That's why I have so many hobbies. Someone people could count on. But the truth was I was overcommitted, exhausted, and on the verge of burnout, not for the first time. One turning point for me was when I started blocking off time in my calendar just for me. At first, I felt guilty, like I was slacking off or letting people down. But as I stuck with it, I realized those moments of rest made me more focused, more productive, and honestly, much happier, which is where I am now. A recent compliment from a client really drove this home. She said, "You're so thoughtful and detailed. It's like you really care." And that only happened because I stopped stretching myself so thin and I started saying no to the things that don't serve me well. There are a ton of benefits to saying no. So we've talked about why saying no is so hard and how to do it, but let's focus on the rewards because trust me, they're worth it. When you learn to say no, you're not just avoiding stress, you're actively creating space for the things that truly matter to you. So let's explore some of the incredible benefits of embracing this mindset. The first one is better relationships. When you say no, you're actually building stronger relationships. Yes, really, really. And here's why. So you set boundaries, you're teaching others how to respect your time and your energy. This also fosters a mutual trust and prevents resentment from creeping in from your interactions. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather have someone who's fully present and engaged when they say yes, instead of someone who feels obligated and drained? People who turn up and then sit playing on the phone are the worst. Saying no allows you to show up as your best self in the moments that matter the most. The second one is making more time for personal growth. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your priorities, saying yes to something that does. Maybe it's taking a course that you've always wanted to try, working on your fitness, or even just catching up on much needed rest. This is how I learned Photoshop and video editing. So saying no isn't about closing doors, it's about opening the right ones at the right time. And it's about investing in your future self and creating the room for growth and opportunity. The third one would be a better work-life balance. When you stop overcommitting, you're better able to separate work from personal life. And we can create that balance. You can leave work at work and enjoy your evenings and actually recharge. This doesn't just benefit you, but it makes you more productive, more creative, and effective in the long run. And remember, work-life balance isn't a luxury, it's essential for mental health and overall happiness. It's two things that should work together rather than against each other. Greater mental clarity and resilience would be our fourth. So when you're not overwhelmed by obligations, your mind has the space it needs to focus and recharge, get creative. And this clarity allows you to tackle challenges more effectively, make better decisions, and even boost your resilience against stress. Saying no isn't just about protecting your mental health in that moment, it's about strengthening it for the future. I'm going to do a mini exercise with you. Now, let's take a moment to picture something together. So I'd like you to close your eyes, if you can. Imagine a version of your life where you confidently say no to the things that drain you. Visualize having a calendar filled with only the commitments that excite you or align with your values. Picture yourself feeling energized and balanced and in control of your time. Imagine spending more quality time with the people who truly matter, or finally pursuing that passion that you've been putting off forever. How does that version of your life feel? Pretty amazing, right? The best part is, it's within your reach. You just need to start saying no to things that drain you. Saying no can feel like a minefield, especially when you're worrying about disappointing others or facing backlash. But having the right tools and phrases at your disposal can make all the difference. Let's explore some practical techniques for saying no, tailored to different situations. So the first one would be at work. Whether it's your boss, a co-worker, or even a client, declining tasks at work requires tact. Here are a couple of approaches. I'd love to help with this, but my current workload is already full. Can we prioritize this against other tasks or look for additional support? This shows that you're open to collaboration while setting a boundary. Another alternative might say, that sounds like a great idea, but I won't be able to give this the attention it deserves right now. Can we revisit this later? And this communicates respect for the task, but maintains your limits. The next thing we need to do is say no to friends or family, and these conversations can feel the most emotional, but they're also crucial for preserving your energy. So one thing we can try first is, I understand this is important to you, but I need to prioritize some personal time this week. Let's figure out another way to get this done. And maybe it's your friends. So thank you for inviting me, but I already have a packed schedule and I really need to recharge. I hope you have a great time. Both of these express appreciation, but while asserting your boundaries. And then saying no to online requests. We are in an age of constant connectivity. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by online demands, whether it's LinkedIn, connection requests, or DMs or email favors. A really good one for this is just saying, thanks for reaching out. I'm currently focusing on some major priorities and I won't be able to assist, but I wish you all the best. This response is polite, firm, and guilt-free. So something I hear about all the time is the shit sandwich technique, but forget about that. That's where you have to cushion your no between two compliments or explanations. It can feel forced, and to me it feels inauthentic. I hate it. So instead, let's focus on being clear, kind, and confident. Here's how you can say no in a way that respects both boundaries, yours and the other person. So first, we're going to lead with gratitude. Start by expressing appreciation. For example, you could say, "Thank you for thinking of me on this project," or "I really value you asking for my input." This acknowledges the other person without overpromising. Next, we're going to state your no clearly. So be direct but polite. Something like, "I'm not able to take this on right now," or "I have to prioritize my other commitments." Notice there's no need to over-explain or to justify the decision. And then finally, we're going to offer a constructive alternative. If you genuinely want to help but can't commit, suggest an alternative. For instance, "I can't join this weekend, but I'd love to do that next week." Or, "I can't take this on, but maybe person A, B, or C could help with it instead." This shows that you're still supportive. Stand firm in your no. Saying no isn't just about boundaries, it's about creating space for the things that truly matter. So here's my questions for you. What's one thing in your life that you really need to say no to right now? And more importantly, what is one thing that you will say no to this week? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need it. Everybody seems to be struggling at the moment, and it'd be good to help everybody. And subscribe for more actionable mental health strategies. I'd love to build a community where saying no is celebrated and not shamed, and everybody can feel welcome and share their mental health tips. Thanks again. Bye.